it to you right here. It's small, very small. And you will get to see it in just a minute. Because it is, as I mentioned earlier, it's revolutionized face jugs. Here he is right here. Feel that little story on it, and it had been known a little bit before, but not to the knowledge that Rob and Michelle are going to break the world open here for just a moment. But anyway, down about in the 1990s when Jill Butte and the McKinsey Museum did the Dave exhibition, I made this jar. You might remember they toured some museums. They went to Milwaukee. I went to the High Museum. But anyway, there was a piece that we were privy to having before. It was this tall umbrella stand or work, or what it was. It was about, well, I don't say it wasn't in this level. We had it privately. And it had sharp teeth and big wide eyes. And it was about maybe 22, 24 inches tall or so. And we sold it to collectors that were lived in Marion, South Carolina, the Shanks, Tony and Marie Shanks, who were some of the pioneers in some of the Edgefield collecting in those days. And when this exhibition came up here at the McKissick, Making Faces, in 2001, this piece popped up. Okay. Now, when we were down doing the exhibition, the Dave exhibition, we were walking around unofficially through the gallery with Jill and some people were following. And somebody had mentioned that what if Dave ever made face jugs? So follow back up on what Phil did. And so Jill actually did some research as best she could in the time frame and come up with some interesting things. And she documented this as being by Dave Drake because of the sharp teeth, principally. And then, of course, it's at the Charleston Museum now with a repaired ear. There it is now at the Charleston Museum. Where's the High Museum? High Museum. Sorry. Okay. All right. I live under a rock. Okay. All right. Anyway, so anyway, when this little face jug popped up here, obviously, I saw the sharp teeth. Okay. And we got things that were so unusual from these others, that are the norm, so to speak. And there was a thought in my mind that I felt strong enough to make a video with our auction catalogs about it being, building a case for it being Dave, by Dave. And so, cat's out of the bag anyway, but Rob had purchased the piece. I guess I could say
based
that.
on your video.
Okay, based on my, well, he'll elaborate that, okay? But anyway, Rob is a pioneer in taking pottery collecting to a much higher level. We've all hear about not only collecting, but the background, the history, the nuts and bolts, what it takes to get to this, okay? And it's like Phil mentioned, the different clays, different periods, different makers, all this. And it's a wonderful opportunity to have, we've afforded me and Susan decided to do our catalogs, to have these catalogs where we do research and gather this for the printing. And Rob developed the form, I guess, the Chipstone Foundation, I'll be right, but this is really, what him and Michelle are going to put together for y'all is really, when it leaves this shop, out, and it's going to be spreading. This will change face jugs dramatically
Thank you.
in a lot of ways. So I'll turn it over to Rob and Michelle, let them have it. Right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Billy. It's so nice to be here because I know so many of you, which is nice, surprise to see so many wonderful faces. Phil, you did a great job. You continue to do a great job. So just having Phil here and Billy, of course, that's worth the price of admission just to be
barbecue.
That goes without saying. Collecting and research is like a game of kick the can down the road. It really is. Everyone has an opportunity to have a kick at the can. It goes down, someone else comes along, they get to kick it. On and on and on. So, Kay Myers here with what you and George did with your face jug book. landmark publication. So everyone has an opportunity to come behind these folks and have their own go at kicking the can. Some of us can do it pretty well, some of us just miss totally. As a young collector, I've always had a fantasy. I have a list of 5 fantasies when it comes to ceramic discoveries. One of those fantasies is probably at the top of the list, of course. One day I'm going to come across a Edgefield face jug that's actually signed Dave.
Oh, sure.
And I mean, can you imagine that happening? And it hasn't happened in what, 50 or 60 years of collecting. This particular jug here, which Billy showed this is austere thing here. I'm so glad Phil brought these other pieces here.
Rob, can you hold it up?
I sure will.
Okay, all right, so we can, okay, hold on, all right.
And I'm gonna hold it up again in a second.
Okay, I got it.
So I had seen this face jug years ago, actually. It's been in the literature. This may have come from the Gordon collection, even though it wasn't published in the Christie's catalog. So it's been around. It was sold at Crocker Farm in 2016. Phil, somehow it came to Phil at some point.
I had to buy a whole collection to get it.
Get it. And I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I was meeting Phil in our we have regular spots we meet to exchange ideas and checks usually. Barbecue parking lot. And Phil brings it out of his trunk and shows it to me, Rob. He said, you know, Rob, this is a great face jug. Will you pay me, I don't know how much money for it. It was a lot of money. And I didn't have any money at that time because I'd just given him checks. So anyway, I just went on. Next time I saw it, it was in Billy Ray Hussey's last auction in the catalog. And it was a great catalog description. But what got me really fascinating about it was his 5-minute video that Susan filmed of Billy standing right here, talking about this particular thing and going through all of the characteristics he just mentioned with the sharp teeth, the tongue in particular coming out. There was a lot of characteristics to this jug that didn't necessarily fit in the repertoire of the known face jugs. And if y'all come up and look, this is a powerful sculptural piece. And my partner Michelle said from the get-go, good gracious, this is a powerful piece of sculptural art. I mean, as an artist, you just noticed that it had a lot of power to it, regardless of when it was made, where it was made. It just spoke to her. And Billy went into his rationale about why he thought he could attribute it to David Drake. Wow. And I was intrigued. And I know a little bit about face vessels. I probably have owned 20 or so over the years. And of course, I'm researching them constantly. So I said, well, I want to buy that piece. Billy's video convinced me, even though I didn't really have the money to do it. But I did. I bought it. And it shows up, and when I saw it in person, I was even more, impressed and glad I did, since I saw it in Phil's trunk at that time. And I got to looking at it. Every minute I was looking at it like this. And I said, Billy's discussion is wonderful, but the only problem is every David Drake pot I have ever seen personally, and I'm talking about these things, have some sort of a mark on them that one could attribute to Dave, whether it's a cross. There's an argument whether he did a cross versus an X. I like the cross rather than the X. Whether there's 2 slashes, which you see on virtually all of David Drake's pots. And sometimes you see what they call a horseshoe mark or upside down U on things. So I said, well, if Billy's right, there's got to be a mark on this piece. And I'm here in my office like this looking at it. I'm here looking at it. I met Michelle, my partner Michelle, one morning, and we tend to meet at the local coffee house, Starbucks, and look at objects, much to the chagrin of some of the customers. So I'm there looking at it, and finally we got down to the selfie stage where we're taking pictures of each other, of me anyway. And I'm holding it up like this to my face for it to take a picture, and Michelle looks across the table and says, "There's an X on that piece. There's a cross on this piece." And the look at the handout I've passed out. I'm sorry I don't have slides, but I do have a handout. And if you look at the second image to the top right,
X marks the spot.
X marks the pot.
X marks the spot.
X marks the pot. This was a program that the geologists, well not geologists, anthropologists use on petroglyphs to study rock carvings. And I was able to download it, and that really accentuates the little cross mark. And everyone can see that, hopefully.
Which side? Oh, it's above the ear.
Above the ear.
You saw that with the naked eye.
I see. Well, the sun was kind of.
And once you see it with the naked eye, once you see it with the naked eye, you can see it on the pot clearly. So I said, wow, here's our David Drake attribution with a mark that should be there. And I forget if I called Phil first or Billy first. I think I called Phil first. And Phil was, I don't know if you were in town, the country then. You seemed semi-excited, but at the same time.
Thinking himself the whole time.
Why they sell
Well, that's
it?
like, you know, the guy who just won the Derby, calling the guy who trained the horse. Guess what? You won the Derby.
I just sold the filly for $10,000. And I called Billy. Billy was a little bit more descriptive about how he felt. He said if there was a truck rob running down the road here, I think I'd run out and throw myself in the car. He was really distraught, I thought. Because, for several reasons. Because, I mean, for whatever. But here's the thing sold in 2016 at Crocker Farm as well. Not a mention was made of that. So the story's pretty good so far. Here we have a David Drake face vessel that appears to have characteristics that dated to the 1830s, 1838. You know, possibly the earliest of them all. And of course, look at the size. It's not one. I mean, it's totally different than any of them. So, for the next day, I'm in my office and I'm constantly looking. Was it that same day we found that though? Yeah.
I think so.
Turning the thing there. There's some writing on the back of this thing. And right next to one of the spots, there's an A. So I have an A to start with, a small letter A. And not to belabor the point, well, let me start on your handout here. On the right-hand side in the middle is a large 15-gallon jar of the Chipstone Foundation. For years and years and years, there's a signature on it. And people thought that said Harvey Drake. Harvey would have been the owner of both Dave and Harry. So they thought whoever signed this, I don't know if you know about this piece, it was a testament to the owner of the pottery. But within the last couple of years, my colleague John Brown went back to look at it and he said, that's not Harvey, that's Harry Drake. So here we have a Harry signature. We know we have lots of David Drake signatures. As Phil said, it's what, 80 of them, 100 of them?
200.
200.
Really?
Wow, that's a lot. It's a lot.
Wow.
A lot. A short story. I own the earliest dated pot, which Phil sold me. With Dave, it was his first one. He actually signed his name Dave, and it was January 21st, 1840. And I sold it to the Harvard Museum, and I regret that. Like, I know how you feel, Phil. I regret selling that thing.
Yeah.
For every regret that I have, you have one too.
Yeah, there you go. So we're all happy now. So anyway, and you look to this side of it, that's the left side. That's Harry's signature. It says Harry, and you can see how faint that is. I mean, you can barely see it
On that great big pot.
on the great big pot. During the course of this too, down in the bottom right, I took about 70 x-rays of this face vessel, which taught me two things. It did show some other marks. It showed 2 slash marks on it, like the David Drake pots had. But it also showed me how artistically wonderful those x-rays are. So at some point, I'd love to mount a show of getting about 40 face vessels, taking x-rays of them, and just mount the x-rays. I think it'd be a wonderful show. Anyway, that taught me a couple things. Now let's flip to the back page. Now again, we're talking about poor, this is probably an iPhone picture with poor photography, but underneath the handle of the small jug, there's a white dot there, it's a piece of quartz. And you can see to the left of that, this is an A I'm talking about. But, and again, you're welcome to see it in person here, but basically what I have figured out, I have seen every single letter that says Harry on it. So we no longer have a David Drake face vessel. We have an extremely rare and early Harry face vessel. There's only 3 Harry signatures known on large pots. So this would just make the 4th signature alone that we know. And it turns the whole thoughts about Edgefield face making on its head. Late, you know, a lot of the literature, and Phil alluded to this, talks about the Africanisms of these vessels and how they're related to African art and sculpture. And it talks about African traditions carrying over into the New World with slaves, enslaved people and robbed. But now we have an individual who's an extremely competent potter making a face vessel. It just flips everything on its head in terms of how we look at the trajectory of the later face vessels. I don't have any answers to that. What we do have, though, is just a landmark occasion where after so many years of looking and looking and looking, and not seeing or overlooking this very faint script that says Harry on it. I've also, since that time, I have identified at least one other face vessel that may have faint script on the back as well. And it belongs to a colleague, a client of mine in Chicago, actually, that has a lot of similar characteristics. You know, the one with the big nose that actually may be signed or have writing on it as well. There's more to the story because there's more writing on this piece. I think we took a picture,
Very hard to see.
a group picture outside today, and for the first time I saw some other letters. They just appeared out of nowhere. Talk about magic pots. So there's more to be said about the inscription on here than just the word signature Harry. It could say made by Harry, worked by Harry. It could have a date on it. I don't know. And I'm not quite sure. I'm still investigating the scientific means to
Yeah, like other x-rays or something.
other x-rays or other photography. I'm not sure. I didn't.
One of the things, as you're talking about this, that I think we should make a distinction about is that Harry is working earlier than Dave. And all of his signatures are not bold like Dave's signature. They're hard to see, they're hard to find, hard to read, and that's exactly what you would expect to find if you were going to look for a Harry signature. You're not going to find it big writing on it.
Brazenly.
It's always it's going to be very faint.
Is that
Because for
because
one
it could
thing,
have like rubbed off kind of?
perhaps,
Use your phrase, it's
Huh?
a hidden language, it's a
in
hidden language.
language.
It could be
Not
perfect.
supposed to read or write.
Oh, of course.
So Harry was proud that he could write,
Yeah.
but he was in an environment where he couldn't
Yeah.
write. So he had to do it so that he could say, well, I don't see anything there. You must be seeing things.
And as Michelle pointed out on he has wonderful penmanship as well.
Yes.
He clearly was trained with one of the script books where he practiced his letters. I mean, it's wonderful, wonderful script on the piece. So this is the first public announcement. And that was Billy's idea to suggest that we announce that to this group, and I'm so glad we did. The next few steps, I'm not sure how slow or how fast to celebrate.
When's your article?
It's going to be our article.
Oh, you're coming out.
Yeah. The first thing I said, this is our discovery, regardless of, Michelle actually made it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if she hadn't said, and the fact because she was 2 feet away, I think helped make she saw something. And without that, I'd still be, you know,
I think our eyesight is starting to falter a bit.
Oh.
I mean,
It seems like Starbucks should be supporting this,
Yeah,
this initiative, since that's the venue.
I think that's a good idea.
well,
Corporate
the,
support.
the reason I use Starbucks in my social media is at least I can take all my order to drinks as business deductions.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's, at least get that off.
Yeah, that's funny.
But,
But regardless, it's a great piece of
Yes.
African-American art.
even though it's the smallest of the lot, it's a very, and some gentlemen asked about, do these still have power? They have as much power as you want to give them. And I think that's where the power comes from, is what power you give these objects.
Are there any other jugs with a tongue hanging?
Yes, that's a good question. There's
Yeah.
4 or 5 or 6. There's a face cup and a couple little jugs. You probably up to speed on that, or you with the tongue.
Yeah.
And-
3 to 4.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
and
well, the one that you got from Gandhi had a tongue sticking out, right? A little bit?
No
No tongue?
no tongue.
But not hanging out like this.
No,
But it's not sticking out like that.
not like that.
There in the middle.
The cup I told the Virginia Museum has.
Had a tongue. That's the one from Tara.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then
Well,
the,
people should go,
I recently found a
see it.
face jug in Aiken with the tongue sticking out, it's still in the family. Then the one that Chipstone just sold has the tongue sticking out.
And one of ours does, remember? It has it doesn't sticking out. but
Oh, you
it's
do,
there.
yeah.
You have one, you have
Yeah.
one, yes. You have one, and, Chipstone one, and then this guy. Yeah, I wanna say there's a face cup somewhere along the line. that
That's
has
what I
a
thought.
tongue
Isn't there a
sticking
face
There-
cup with the tongue out?
I
out.
think.
Well, yours,
The
that one, yeah.
Virginia
that's the one.
Museum one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
These have wonderful power, and it's a very tactile power. I mean, you just to put your hands on these things, you're communicating with somebody or something. It's just an amazing tactile experience, and we're all fortunate to have these up and close and personal like this. So that's the big discovery. How monumental, it really will flip the script in a lot of ways. And,
Do we come up and
oh,
maybe?
yeah, sure.
One by one, so we don't knock them over?
Yeah, well, you guys have wonderful things you own in collections.
There in 2018, I did a video.
Right above the.
We
Oh,
have,
there it is.
Yes.
It's obvious.
Once you know it's there,
Right there.
In fact, I
Then let's see the,
Scott,
signature.
and you see the little white dot.
Right.
Yeah.
You look to the left of that, there's a slower script there.
Why there?
Yeah, there's two, yep.
Okay, get out of your way.
See, there's another word, whole nother word.
The whole eight.